Hey y'all, these are your September 5. We have a pull over, a seated march, a wide or sumo deadlift, a plank, and a side bend. And so you will need something to sit on, a chair or something sturdy. And then if you have a loop band, grab it up. And then you'll need a medium or heavy-ish set of weights for your deadlift. So take a moment before you go anywhere and really do make yourself heavy on the floor. Feel your shoulder blades heavy. Feel your rib cage heavy and your pelvis. And the reason that's important is I'm trying to get some length down my side and trying to separate this arm movement from moving my ribs. So I'm going to try to keep my ribs heavy. And here's what I mean. I'm going to grab up my weight, whatever way you want to grip it. You can grab the fat end or the middle part. Bring your weight over your chest and straighten your elbows. So I'm going to commit to this heavy ribs, heavy shoulders, heavy pelvis. And then real easy does it start to take my arms back. So if you've got a lot of tightness in your shoulders, you might not get very far. And that's all right. We're just going to do a little baby step in it. Big inhale, arms go back. Big exhale, right back over your chest. So I'm going to do 10 of these as I'm talking to you. We'll see if I can count to 10. That's 3. You might notice the more of these you do, the further back you're able to go, but don't force it. We got the whole month to work on this. That's 4. If you feel any pain, stop. Rearrange your hands. You might even switch your grip. We're halfway there. We're going to do 5 more. Inhale. Exhale. I'm going nice and slow. If you feel comfortable going all the way to the ground, stretch your arms all the way back, maybe arms back by your ears. Last 3. Heavy ribs, heavy shoulders. Last 2. Big stretch. Last 1. So I put this one in the beginning under release work, even though we're holding the weight. The point of this is to get more mobility in your shoulder. It's not a strength exercise. What the weight is doing is helping me get my arm back. Yeah, but I want you to do what feels good for you today. And as always message me, call me if you have questions and you need a modification for any of these. Okay, for this march, I'm seated and I've got myself stacked up nice and tall. I've got a band around my feet. So if you've got one of those handy, put your loop band around your feet. I'm going to try to keep as much length as I can in my torso. I'm thinking of pushing my head to the ceiling. And I lift my right foot and push my left foot down into the ground. And then I'm switching sides. I lift my left and push my right foot down. So a tiny little march and switch. Right leg lifts. Notice if you feel, I can feel my pelvis wanting to shift and my hip wanting to lift. So I'm having to really work my torso. And so this is an organization exercise in that we're having to use all these guys. I'm going to turn to the front just so you can see what it looks like. And I do this from the front. Hips stay level as I march. We're about halfway there. We're going to do 5 more. Okay, so hip flexor tightness. Let's discuss. Raise your hand if you go, oh, my hip flexor is so tight, my quads are so tight. Okay, I talked about this with our shrugs that we did a few months ago. If I've got chronically tight hip flexors, they could also be weak. I'm going to do last 2 of these guys. So doing moves like this, engage the front of your leg and the front of your hip. Last 2. And what I notice, especially this is my weaker and tighter side, as I lift that leg, I can feel my pelvis wanting to, so I'm having to really work this last one. I'm committing to that foot on the floor, pressing down. Oh, and my tummy muscles working. Okay, so just as important as stretching your hip flexors, and the hip flexor does this, it lifts your leg, is doing moves like that to strengthen the front of your hip and quad. Okay, we got our wide or sumo deadlift. We had done a wide squat way back in, what was that, January? This is a cousin of that move, but my priority is hip hinging over getting my butt down and back. So let's do it. I'll talk you through it while we're doing it. I've got my feet comfortably wide. I'm going to let my weight come down to the floor as I push my hips back. And I can bend my knees as much as I need to. But really, I'm lowering my chest to the floor and my torso is tight. Yeah, flat back. And then I push into my heels and stand up. So I'm hinging at my hips, letting my knees bend, coming into possibly a flat back position, and then standing up. Let me turn to the side so you can see what I mean by hinging at my hips. I'm sending my tushy out, softening my knees a little bit. Exhale, standing up. I'm going to come back this way just so I don't slip on the floor. Okay, so similar to your wide squat, but you're leaning forward and pushing yourself up. Is that 5? I think this is 5. So a little more butt. Let's do 5 more. Hinging. Use your back, the backs of your legs and your butt to pull your weight up. That's 4. Last 3. Go nice and slow. You decide how far down you're going. Last 2. Hinging at your hips. Last 1. So why are we working these squats and hip hinges, deadlift type moves? If you have an elderly relative and you have spent time with them and they have trouble getting up and down off the toilet or getting in and out of the car, right? All of these moves we do in our daily activities require that hip hinging action, that folding forward, and then being able to bring yourself back up. So super important as we age. Okay, we got our plank. You've got the option to come onto your forearms, onto flat hands, knees down, or straight leg. I'm just going to show the straight arm and straight leg version, but know that if you need to back off, do any of those. Come down to your forearms, come down to your knees. We're going to hold 5 breaths. Come and do with me. Push your hands into the ground, push your feet out. Again, this is a good one to have a mirror handy, or you could turn on the video on your phone and take a video of yourself just to make sure your butt isn't dipping down or your head isn't hanging down. That's 3. We got 2 more big deep breaths. Last one. Big exhale. Okay, so you could go for time on this one. If you have your phone or turn on your timer, that could be a fun little game to play this month to see how long you can hold your plank and can you add a couple of seconds or add a couple of breaths each week. But we're not going to spend any more time planking because I'm excited to show you this side bend. You could do this from standing. You could hang on to a doorway and sort of hang in the door. I'm going to show this floor version since I'm already down here on the floor. It's a little bit goofy to see what I'm doing, just how my camera is positioned, but I'm reaching my right arm down towards my right foot, and I'm pretty flat on the ground. So my shoulders are flat and heavy. My pelvis is flat and heavy. So I'm a little pancake gingerbread man, but I'm kinching up on the side here. Yeah. You could stretch your other arm and leg long on the diagonal. So this side, for me, my left side is getting a nice big stretch. And this right side is shortening and tightening. So I'm just going to hang out and breathe into my ribs, into my armpit. On my stretchy side, you could roll your head a little bit left and right, up and down. Big inhale, big exhale. And then come back to center and rest for just a moment. And then you can do side number 2 on the floor. I'm just going to stand to show you what it could look like. imagine I'm standing in a doorway and I'm hanging onto the doorway like so. And then you can cross your foot either behind you or in front of you. So here's my side that's shortening up. Here's my side that's lengthening, and I'm trying to stay just to the side, not really doing a twist. Side bending, breathing into your ribs. You could turn your head here too, down and up. A couple more big deep breaths. See if you can expand your armpit, expand your ribs. So we kind of forget about our sides. We're very like moving forward through space, but this can get really tight. Your hip. Breathe down into your hip. One more big inhale. Big exhale. Okay, so we had your pull over to loosen up your shoulders. That seated march for your core and hip flexors. Your sumo or wide-legged deadlift. We held a plank for about 5 breaths. Feel free to keep going. You want to go up to a minute on your plank, and then some kind of side bend, either from standing or on the floor. And then were any of these new moves for you today that you haven't done before? If so, shoot me an email and let me know. Or if you have questions about anything, I'd love to hear from you. See you soon.